everybody, and welcome back to AORUS Gaming. So today we're going to be having a look at a couple of big announcements for 2018, and I'm really excited to share with you what I have found so far. So having a look first of all at AMD. So there are 4 new CPUs that they're bringing out, all with 64 PCIe Express lanes. So first of all, let's start off with the lowest of them, the 2920X. It's a 12-core, 24-thread CPU, 3.5 GHz base with a 4.3 GHz overclock, 32 megabytes of L3 cache, and 180 watt TDP. Next stage up is the 2950X, which is 16 cores, 32 threads, 3.5 GHz base with a boost clock of 4.4. And again, 32 megabytes of L3 cache with 180 watt TDP again. So this is their generation 2 of the 1920X and the 1950X. So I'm really excited to see what these are going to do. But the 2 new ones AMD have introduced is the 2970WX, which is the 24-core, 48-thread CPU, 3 GHz base clock, and 4.2 GHz boost. So getting over that 4 GHz that the Threadripper Generation 1 did struggle to do. If you look at my overclocking guide of Threadripper, the 1900X, I'm running it at 4.1 stable at around about 1.3375, I think it is, watts. With the 2970WX, you're going to have 64 megabytes of L3 cache with a 250 watt TDP. The behemoth though, the one that everybody was looking out for, the one that they showed off at Computex, which was the 2990WX, and these names have been confirmed. So this is the 32 core 64 thread behemoth, 3 GHz base with a 4.2 GHz boost, again with the 64 megabytes of L3 cache and 250 watts TDP. So these are going to be running quite high. Moving on to the pricing, which is what people really the pricing, what people are really looking forward to. So their behemoth, the top end, the 2990WX, is going to be at around about $1,800. Stepping down to the 2970WX, around $1,300. The 2950X at $900, and then the baby, the 2920X, at around $650. So how does this compare to Intel's 28-core 56-thread CPU that it showed off at Computex that had to be air conditioning cooled? So going that a step beyond water cooling and air cooling, they had to go air conditioning. Pretty cheap, around about 8-9% lower than 8 or 9? No, about 80 or 90% lower, should I say, really. The one that Intel showed off was their server CPU, and that's around $9,999. So absolutely extremely overpriced. But again, obviously Intel use it for their servers, but AMD are starting to eat into that market, which is forcing Intel to bring out new CPUs that we haven't seen for quite a few years. So Intel are now on the back foot and AMD are taking over. Looking at AMD's roadmap, however, this is what they've got planned for the next 2 years. So, went in a bit too far there. And not enough. So their architectures here at the moment, we are on the 2000 series, which is the Zen 1s, Zen Plus, the 14 nanometer going down to the 12 nanometer, and as you can see here, this is the 2990WX, the 32 core 64 thread processor at the moment. Then next year we'll be looking at the 7 nanometer processor, which is their Ryzen 3000 series. And what is interesting here is they have stepped it up again, 48 cores and 96 threads possibly, and their top range is going to be 64 cores and 128 threads. That is nuts. Obviously these are definitely to be confirmed. And then in 2020 their 4000 series is to be decided at the moment, and that will be going from the 7 nanometer plus to the 5 nanometer. Again, AMD is releasing a roadmap showing you where they want to go, where they want to be, and how they want to get there. And Intel, like I said, on the back foot, we're not seeing anything like this from Intel as far as I can see or I'm aware of. So, moving on over to the callers basically for Threadripper, which is something that I'm really excited to show you. This is Ryzen's and AMD Ryzen's Threadripper air cooler. It is massive. It's got a 120 millimeter fan in the middle and heat sinks all down here. This is heat sinks, and then the heat sinks just under there as well. So I'm going to show you the other image that I've got. Sorry if it's flashing around a bit. But here you go. So here's the heat sink from the top. It is RGB here, and on the front there's the base plate that's going to contact with the IHS, and heat sinks here with the pipes. Now this cutout here is so you can have your high-rise DDR4 RAM, which is something with the other air coolers that with Threadripper that we had a bit of a problem with. Noctua was an air cooler for Threadripper and it worked quite well, but you mainly had to go water cooled, i.e. an AIO, sorry, or a custom water loop, if you didn't have a Noctua fan to cool the original Threadripper. So, release dates. Let's have a look at when they're looking at releasing these chips. So 13th of August is going to be the 2990WX apparently. And then 18 days after that, you're going to be expected to see the 2950X on the 31st of August. And then some date in October, you're going to be seeing the 2970WX and the 2920X. So that is AMD. Now moving on over to the next one is going to be Nvidia, which is going to be that one there. This is their GTX1180 or 2080, we don't know yet what it's going to be named, but we're looking at quite a big GPU here with 3 fans on it and RGB goodness that everybody at the moment is loving. I don't know if you can see it there, no you can't, pictures are not clear enough, but this was posted at iCraft over in China at their expo, which I know Nvidia, sorry, not Nvidia, Nvidia are quite close with and work well with as partners. Then obviously with that is the PCB. Now let's have a look at this. Now this is something quite interesting. So if you're looking at here, you've got the Nvidia link, you've got your display ports down here, you've got your memory dies. So we're looking here at it potentially being 8 1GB memory modules or 8 2GB memory modules. So it's either going to be 8GB or 16GB. Hopefully 16GB, that's going to be impressive. You've got an 8+2 power phase as far as everyone here can see. You've got 1 to 8 there, so that's going to be for your GPU, and then you've got 1 and 2 for the VRM. Over here you've got a 6+8 pin power connector, so this thing is going to be quite juicy. It's going to take a lot of power, so you're going to have 2 connectors then, especially if you want to be overclocking it, you're going to need the power there. And bus speed I'm working out at to be around about 384, and yes, it's going to be GDDR6, which is going to be nice. It's going to be their basically new GPU. Sorry, started there, I don't know why. So, release dates, what or when can we be expecting these to be coming to us? So the GTX 1180 and the 1180 Plus are going to be released around, well, the GTX 1180 around the 30th of August, and then on the 30th of September the 1180 Plus. The GTX 1170 again on the 30th of September, and the GTX 1160 on the 30th of October. Pricing, or yeah, let's have a look at specs wise first actually, because pricing is going to be around about $800 US dollars. I'm figuring it or working it out to be. Again, that's not been confirmed, but there are links online leading to it. So last time that we looked at anything, obviously you had the GTX 1080 and the 1080 Ti. You then had the Titan X, XP, X-p, the Quadro, the Titan V. There's been so many, but they're comparing the 1180 to the 1080. So the 1080 had 2,560 CUDA cores, with the 1180/2080 is going to have 3,584, which is an increase of 40%. The RAM, as you can see, going from 8 to 16 gigabytes instead of GDDR5, it's going to be GDDR6, which is a 100% improvement. Like I said, hopefully they are going to be 2 gigabyte of 8, sorry, of 2 gigabytes memory modules of DDR6. Power on the GTX 1180 is 200 watts. It's going to be the 12 nanometer process, and it's going to have 1300 teraflops. So by looking at it, it's impressive. Can't wait to see these in action. Really want to get my hands on one. Hopefully Nvidia could send me over a few, or maybe EVGA when they get their blueprints and then they're allowed to release these. Maybe they could get me over one. That'd be awesome. Shout out to EVGA there, please, if you can hook me up. So last of all, with going back to AMD, with the new AMD CPUs, you're going to be having an X399 refresh. You can use your current X399 motherboards just with a BIOS update, but they are releasing some pretty cool looking motherboards. I'm a big fan of GIGABYTE. I really like their design here. ASUS have stepped it up. As you can see, here are going to be the NVMe M.2 sticks. Massive, obviously, CPU there, obviously, because it's going to be TR4 socket, if I remember correctly. But judging by what I've seen with MSI's Mega Creation, here is 2 massive heat sinks for the 19 power phases that are underneath there. These heat sinks are about that thick, and I believe you can actually get a fan that clips onto here. I'm not sure if it's this one or if it's another motherboard, I can't remember. Sorry, my bad, should have seen it or looked at it before doing this video, but it's quite late here. But this is what you're going to be looking at. RGB again, quite nice looking motherboards, the heat sinks there. I've always liked GIGABYTE, I like what they do. Yeah, bit of a fanboy, but judging by what we can see on the screen here, these are going to be pretty awesome. So that's all that I have for now. Please do like, share and subscribe to my page, and once I get any further updates I will be doing another video. But until then, please do enjoy yourself. Again, like, subscribe and share, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.